Hello guys, it's Robbie here and welcome to this recap where I'm going to break down EU first, then GU in the next recap. I was able to find one entry opportunity in EU. It wasn't the most beautiful setup, but it lined up perfectly with the plan that I created before the session for in the markup. So yeah, here we are on the 4-hour time frame. But first, we did not have any high impact news in this session, so it was safe to trade. On the 4-hour time frame, what happened? Well, after a 4-hour supply zone mitigation right here, price technically changed character here to the downside on the last recent 4-hour demand that has caused the breakout structure, but price couldn't really manage to mitigate any demand at this region. After that, price has reversed back to the upside, but made a new breakout structure to the downside, made a small person mitigation on the 4-hour demand that has flipped a 4-hour supply zone before. And after that, price was technically ranging between this high and low point, created liquidity right here, technically created liquidity right here for the extreme supply that has caused the change of character on the 4-hour time frame, and price also created liquidity on the downside that has caused that has been that has been created for a 50% mitigation on this 4-hour demand, and we can still expect a 4-hour mitigation here. But price has broken above this extreme 4-hour supply zone, caused the swing breakout structure in the 4-hour time frame, which has technically happened from this 4-hour demand area. Also, this demand has caused the sweep of this liquidity, caused the break of this supply area, and caused the swing high point too. So price was somewhere around here before London session, and I was expecting a continuation to the upside, but also I was expecting a possible pullback to the downside, because after swing breakout structures, price tends to create pullbacks to the downside. So we had a really great chance, really high chance to mitigate this 4-hour demand area. And as you can see, price was making a pullback to the downside. So yeah, technically that's all on the 4-hour time frame. Let's take a look on the 15-minute. What happened on the 15-minute time frame? Well, I have refined this 4-hour demand area into this 15-minute demand that has also caused the break of this high point with really nice volume candles. But inside of the 4-hour supply area, there was a completely efficient movement. As you can see, price barely made any inefficiency, and technically this is just liquidity creation for the upcoming pullback after the swing breakout structure. Before the session, just before the session, price has made a new breakout structure to the upside right here, as you can see, with really nice bullish push to the upside. There was a clear body break, and price couldn't really manage to mitigate any supply at this region and started to create a bearish pullback. Session started with this candle. This is the first candle of the session. So on the 15-minute time frame, technically this was our 15-minute demand that has caused the breakout structure. But instead of this huge 15-minute demand area, I have refined it on the 5-minute and 3-minute time frame too into two refinements. This is the decisional, this is the extreme zone. But on the 15-minute time frame, if this low point breaks, then I was expecting bearish continuations to the downside, expecting a mitigation of this demand area, but I was 100% sure about that this liquidity will be swept. So yeah, let's take a look on the 5-minute time frame, where we will have a clear look on a decisional 5-minute demand area. As you can see, this is the 5-minute demand that has caused the breakout structure directly. This is a 15-minute breakout structure, and it happened from this 5-minute demand area. On the 5-minute time frame, there wasn't any demand, as you can see, but in this case, I logged the 3-minute time frame, because on the 3-minute time frame, there was a possible area that has caused really nice inefficiency, and also this 3-minute candle, 3-minute area, was the extreme of this structure breaking movement on the 15-minute time frame. So this is a 15-minute move right here. This is a 15-minute breakout structure, and price left behind two possible higher time frame zone where we could expect confirmation entry. I was expecting confirmation entry on the last recent 5-minute demand area, but just before the session, price has already mitigated the zone, and there wasn't any liquidity creation for the 5-minute demand area. So I was really expecting the mitigation of this extreme zone, where I was expecting a confirmation entry, or if a flip happened on this zone, and also if price broke below this low point, then technically a 15-minute change of character would happen. Then after this 15-minute change of character, I would expect bearish continuations, expecting the sweep of this liquidity, which actually happened. But beforehand, right here, price has created a confirmation entry, so that's the reason why I entered on it. However, it wasn't the most beautiful setup, but it was still there and I had to execute it because it was my plan. And it was my expectation order flow before the session. So let's take a look on the 1 minute time frame and let's see what happened on the 1 minute time frame. As you can see, this is a really slow pullbacky movement to the downside down to this 3-minute area. Actually, on the 5-minute demand, there was a change of character to the upside, and technically this was a buy trap right here, but I was still making the markups right here. But technically this whole zone, this 5-minute demand, was liquidity for the 3-minute demand area which was the origin of this 15-minute structure breaking movement. So yeah, technically this was liquidity right here for the 3-minute demand. And after the small person mitigation, price has built up more liquidity right here on the 1 minute time frame. Technically, this was liquidity for a deeper mitigation, for a 50% mitigation on the 3-minute demand area, which actually happened with this movement. This movement was a bit tricky, a little bit, because there was a break of structure to the downside. That has happened with volume candles right here. And technically, it happened from this wick, from this 1 minute supply area. And after this break of structure, price action has really slowed down. So technically the change of character happened on this high point, but after the change of character right here, technically price has created two possible entry opportunities. This was the first one that has caused technically the flip of this supply first. So this was the decisional, and this was our extreme area that has caused really nice volume candles. So in this case, we could use a risk split entry right here. I sent an update somewhere around here that count the criteria for these areas and make a decision for your own. I couldn't set a limit order on the extreme because price has already mitigated right here when I wanted to set a risk split entry on this decisional and extreme area. But I had a limit order on the extreme zone. And let's count the criteria for the extreme zone in this case. The first one was the higher time frame zone mitigation. The second one was the liquidity to take into the higher time frame zone. Technically, this was liquidity, and also price created liquidity right here on the 1 minute time frame. So there was a really nice amount of liquidity to take for the higher time frame zone. There was inefficiency for the extreme POI right here, as you can see, 3. All right, there was the inefficient gap, and also price has printed a really nice volume candle. Perfect. And we are in a pro trend. Technically, 4-hour was bullish, 15-minute was bullish. Price has just confirmed the last recent 3-minute demand, which was the origin of the last recent 15-minute structure breaking movement. So I had to look for longs right here. So perfect. Fourth criteria is there, so we are in a pro trend. All right. We had change of character. Technically, price has changed character on several places. Even there was a 1 minute supply that has caused the break of structure, which was the origin of the structure breaking movement. Price even wicked above it. But technically, with this wick above, price has just swept some liquidity from this region, but created more liquidity for the longs. So yeah, price has changed character on several places. Perfect. So this was our fifth criteria. The sixth one was the 50% mitigation. Price mitigated more than 50% of the higher time frame zone, and we had a really nice amount of liquidity target on the upside. Technically, this whole pullback to the downside was liquidity creation for the upcoming longs. Perfect. There was V-shaped recovery too. We can check it on the 3-minute time frame. There was a literally perfect V-shaped recovery after the 50% mitigation, after the sweep of the 1 minute liquidity. So V-shaped recovery was there too. We had corrective pullback from pro movement. At this point, we had crystal clearly volume bullish movements and pullbacky bearish movements. So it was our 9 criteria. And we had combined liquidation for the extreme zone. In this case, this was the liquidity creation right here. First touch, second touch, third touch, fourth touch. This was the liquidity creation right here for the extreme POI. So it was the 10th criteria. And technically there was a 5-minute supply zone mitigation, but it wasn't that really valuable. The only purpose of this 5-minute supply was to sweep this liquidity into a deeper region of the supply, but it still technically mitigated an opposite-sided zone, so I did not count it in this case. So I had 10 criteria for this extreme POI. I would have had 9 criteria for the decisional, but as I said, I couldn't really set a limit order here because when I counted the criteria and when I send the update, price has already mitigated this zone. So in this case, I should have waited for combined liquidation. So yeah, and also the inefficiency has already been filled up with this mitigation right here. So that's why I set only a limit order on this extreme zone, but I still approach this zone as a possible risk split. So I used 0.5% risk in it. So yeah, so I had this entry opportunity on EU, which turned out as a break even. I used a full zone with 2.5 pip stop loss. And after this full zone mitigation right here, I consider this as liquidity creation. After the sweep right here, I was still in, but technically it wasn't a sweep. It was another touch for this trendline liquidity, and price has even created more liquidity for the upcoming shorts. And also price was struggling inside of this entry POI, so I decided to put my stop loss into break even. Actually, no, I closed manually right here with this candle in break even, so it turned out as a break even trade for me. And yeah, actually my second possible plan on the 15-minute time frame has played out. So price has flipped this extreme zone right here, made the 15-minute change of character, and after that price was started to melt to the downside. And yeah, after the flip right here, there was a 5-minute supply area that has caused the flip of this demand, sorry. And there was liquidity creation for this supply where I was waiting for confirmation entry. It did not happen because session closed right here with this candle. So yeah, this is the entry opportunity that has showed up in London session on EU, but let's see you in the next recording where I break down GU. So